Welcome into this latest episode of the Tailgate. Today, I am joined just kind of on the edge of Pinchgut Creek here in Trussville by Gene Cox of the Friends of Pinchgut Creek, and we're going to talk a little bit of water, a little bit of river, a little bit of creek today.
Yes.
How are you?
Doing good. Happy to be here.
Good. How'd you get your tell me about your background a little bit and just your interest in the outdoors and in rivers, creeks, that kind of thing.
I have always been interested in the outdoors. Someone recently asked me how long I've been a conservationist, and I think since I was a child, it's always been a part of who I am, but it hasn't been my career. I actually sell construction materials for a living, but this is what I do for fun, is clean up trash and take care of the river and take care of the creeks.
That's an interesting dynamic there, selling construction materials and then doing the...
It's all about balance. It's all about balance. It's like human impact is huge on our waterways, so we do what we can to make up for it. And I started organizing cleanup events here in Trussville because of my children. We were hiking one day and my little boy said, "Mom, there's a bunch of trash. Somebody needs to clean that up." I said, "Yeah, somebody needs to be us." And so that's how we got started with our first cleanup event. And
wow.
Now we have an actual legit organization. So
how long ago was that cleanup?
That was, oh gosh, 5 years ago, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
2018,
5 years ago.
Something like that. Wow.
Yeah, and our first cleanup event, we weren't expecting anything huge, and we had like 60 volunteers showed up to our first cleanup event, which was pretty awesome.
Whoa. Was it just Pinchgut?
That was actually on the Cahaba in the Parks and Rec facility, and so we take care of all of the Cahaba headwaters, not just Pinchgut Creek. We named our group after the weirdest named creek. I mean, I don't know, we have a stinking creek in Trussville. That one might be a little bit weirder, but
over in that Queenstown area.
Yeah,
I know Stinking Creek.
Stinking Creek. We've done some work there too. That's a fun one. But so we are Friends of Pinchgut Creek, but we really do take care of the entire headwaters area. And when we started working on the Cahaba and some of the tributaries here, we realized the importance of Pinchgut Creek, and that's really why what we named our group after. When we spent a lot of time monitoring the water in Pinchgut Creek, because we realized that the same fish that we see in the Cahaba are coming up into Pinchgut Creek, and it's really important habitat for the same fishes and critters that live in the Cahaba.
What kind of fish do you find in there?
None that anybody wants to go fishing for. There are no red-eyed bass in this creek. None. No, we actually do a lot of
and stuff.
So there's darters here. We did a fish survey with the state biologist, which was super cool. They wear these backpacks that look like Ghostbusters backpacks, and they shock the water, and the fish, it stuns them, and they float up, and then you get to help count them.
Oh my goodness.
And when we first started this group, we actually were able to work with the state biologist to survey the fish in Pinchgut Creek. Like right behind Ferris was one of the locations, and the other location was right behind Hobby Lobby. And it was extraordinary how many fish were in this little bitty creek, which Pinchgut Creek doesn't look like much really, but there's an amazing amount of fish. We have red-eyed bass. I think there were 23 species total. I might be off on there, something like that.
Just in that creek?
Yes. We don't have any like huge fish. We actually have one tiny catfish species that lives in Pinchgut Creek, yellow belly catfish. They're really cute. They don't get very big, but a lot of sunfish. We do have several different types of darters, and what's probably our prettiest fish in Pinchgut Creek is the rainbow shiner. And
got to be with a name like that.
It is an amazingly beautiful fish. Every spring they fire up in bright colors when it's mating season, and we have professional underwater photographers come from all over the southeast to Pinchgut Creek right here in downtown Trussville to take pictures of the rainbow shiners because they're so pretty.
I've seen some of y'all's pictures on like Facebook and stuff underwater, and I was gonna ask you how y'all get those such good pictures underwater.
I spend a lot of time with my head under the water in the summertime. We go snorkeling really frequently, and right here in Trussville. I mean, you don't have to go to the Caribbean to see amazing, beautiful fish. We have them right here in our backyard. So we take our kids in the summer for fun. We go snorkeling all the time, and Mama has an underwater camera, and I spend a lot of time stalking all of the fish.
Wow. Wow. How did you mentioned that cleanup, with your sons, and kind of it started from there. Did you expect Friends of Pinchgut Creek to become bigger and kind of what it is now, and y'all keep building it. Seems
Well,
like.
at first it was really cool to just be the unofficial trash picker uppers. It was kind of neat to just be able to organize cleanup events and not have to deal with, actually having an organized organization.
Right,
That was really
right.
cool. But we got to a point where we realized we needed to become a 501c3 because we have
Yeah.
projects that we want to work on that. And we want to apply for grants and things for different projects, and you really can't do that if you're not a legit organization.
Sure.
So that's why we started Friends of Pinchgut Creek with the help of Alabama Rivers Alliance and a handful of really awesome people here in Trussville, and got it going. So now we are not the unofficial trash picker uppers. Now we have a name.
Yeah. What's the most volunteers y'all have had? I've seen quite a few at some of these.
Our last cleanup event, or our last big cleanup event, we had right at 100 people. It was the first time that we, got over 100. I think it was 101 or 102. And that was a huge crowd. But we worked in 3 different tributaries that day and in the main body of the Cahaba River. And when we're doing these cleanup events, we have people working in drainage ditches, in stream beds, in the floodplain, and in the woods, because anywhere you are in Trussville, you are in the Cahaba watershed. It all drains down to the river. So we had people working all over town that day.
Wow. So. What do you, when you're cleaning out trash and stuff, like I know y'all have found tires and stuff like that. What's the grossest stuff y'all find, or the most like surprising thing?
We found a whole toilet one time back behind the baseball fields.
Really?
Yes, down in the floodplain. Like it's somehow in a big flood had washed up an entire toilet. We've pulled a boat out of the river. That was
what kind of boat are we talking? Like a little
a decent sized wooden boat, and it was just jammed in a log pile in the river.
Wow.
It's always fun after these cleanup events. People come out of the woods with weird stuff, like they found this grand prize. After our last cleanup event, one kid had a hubcap, and he had made a necklace out of it, and he was wearing a hubcap. Okay. I mean, we always find weird stuff.
Kind of like Flavor Flav style in a way, like he wears a big cloth.
Yeah, except for this was a hubcap on a chain. It was really impressive. But yeah, there's
imagination.
We found a lot of really weird stuff. There's always every kind of ball imaginable. Volleyballs, basketballs, softballs. It's people, if your kid's outside playing and their ball rolls away and they don't go fetch it and starts storming, well, that ball ends up in the Cahaba River or in Pinchgut Creek. So we have quite an assortment.
Wow. Do you think it speaks to people a lot? Like, especially they see stuff on Facebook, like after some of y'all's cleanups. Like I saw one, I don't remember, sometime in the last few months where y'all had one, just down here, and just the number of tires and stuff like that. Like people can't seem to imagine how much trash and just filth can come out of there that needs to come out of there.
Well, people are nasty. And that's all of us. We are all responsible for it. And one thing that I get a lot of times, people see pictures of our cleanup events and they're like, oh, it makes me so angry that people litter. But what people don't realize, most of the trash that we're cleaning up was not put there intentionally. It's where a piece of paper blows away in the parking lot, or you're drinking your Chick-fil-A lemonade and you forget about your cup and leave it sitting there. Well, all of the tiny bits of trash that we leave sitting around, when the wind blows or it starts raining, it all ends up in the river. So much of it is unintentional. Now, we have found a couple of dump sites when we were doing our cleanup events, but almost all of it is just stuff that washes out of parking lots and off the roadside, and it's not really like people are intentionally dumping that
directly into the river.
Yeah.
They just need to find a garbage can. They need to find a dumpster.
Yes, or sometimes it's where garbage cans get knocked over in storms. I mean, if people don't realize, every roadside, every drainage area, all your trash, if your garbage can gets knocked over in a storm, that trash is going to end up in the creek. And that's where a lot of it comes from. So, but yeah, it is impressive when we get done and we have I love to see a grand pile of junk. That's how you feel like you've really accomplished something.
I bet.
But it is really cool though. So we've been doing this for 5 years, and now we're seeing our mountains of garbage at the end of our cleanup events getting smaller.
That's good news.
And in a way, I'm like, oh man, we didn't produce a giant mountain of garbage. But at the same time, it's like, well, that's a good thing. We're making a difference.
Doing something. Yeah.
And you can tell a big difference in a lot of the wooded areas since we've been cleaning up.
Yeah, that's good news. Do you ever wish the creek was named something else?
Yes. We have so many times heard people say, why did you name your group that? Oh, that's
I
such a
need to learn.
terrible
I need
name.
to learn the history of it because offhand I don't know why it's named that. Do you
So
know it?
I do, and it took us a while to find out the
Yeah,
history of
I
it.
want to know
And
this.
we got a lot of the history from Pinchgut Creek. We've just learned from older people in
Mhm.
the town. But so Pinchgut Creek has had that weird name since Native Americans lived
Yeah.
here. And apparently, back in the day, Pinchgut Creek dried up every summer, and the
Okay.
Cahaba had year round water flow.
Okay.
So if you were to try to survive out of Pinchgut Creek, it would pinch your gut. You would starve because they couldn't catch fish in it year round. They caught the fish from the Cahaba.
Makes sense.
But what's interesting is that is completely changed now. Pinchgut Creek does not dry up anymore, and the
It's kind of
Cahaba
reversed.
does. And
Yeah.
that's from human impact. That's from the development and stuff that has affected our
Mm.
waterways. So now what we're seeing is Pinchgut Creek is year-round habitat for Cahaba fishes, where we
Wow.
have a huge stretch of the Cahaba that, like probably every other summer, you see a huge stretch of the Cahaba go bone dry here in Trussville, but
Yeah.
historically that's not how it's
Yeah.
been. So I think a lot of those fish are finding habitat in Pinchgut Creek. So we kind of want to raise awareness of that,
Yeah.
it's the same critters are living here in this creek. It's just as important.
Wow. Did you y'all do anything with the Cahaba River Society?
We do. We work with the Cahaba River Society a lot. They come out to help us with our cleanup events, and we help them as much as we can,
Yeah.
which is sometimes incredibly fun because they're doing their cleanup events
Yeah.
in canoes. So
Wow.
it's a different type of cleanup event, and it is really fun if you ever get a chance to do a cleanup event with them.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But they come help us, and our cleanup events. I mean, sometimes we're wading the creek or wading the river, but you can't really do much canoeing around here.
Sure.
But we work with them. We also work with the Cahaba River Keeper, which is a
Yeah.
different group.
Right.
We help them with collecting water samples for their swim guide in the summertime. So we kind of work with both groups, and we work with Alabama Rivers Alliance, and we get a lot of help, which is really awesome.
Yeah. It seems like here there's a lot of, to me at least, it seems like there's a lot of support in this Trussville Clay kind of area from those groups and also those municipalities. Does it seem like the cities do a good job of?
Oh yeah, well, we work with the city of Trussville. We actually hosted the Cahaba Headwaters collaboration in March, and that was our city leaders. Several of our city leaders and our department heads here in Trussville met with us and representatives from the Alabama Rivers Alliance, Cahaba River Society, the Nature Conservancy, and we pretty much all sat down for half a day and talked about improvements that we can make here for the watershed and how the city could partner with these different groups. And it was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was really good. A lot of good things have come out of that.
Yeah. How did you, like, I want to go back a little bit to, you said, like, kind of been a conservationist all your life. Like, how young were you when you started playing in the water?
So my dad is a retired game warden, and when I was a little kid, I didn't get to have dogs or cats for pets. We had our backyard was pretty much a wildlife rehab center. We would rehabilitate animals and then take them to the state game farm, or some of them couldn't be released back into the wild, and they became our pets. So I had pet deer. I bottle fed baby deer, baby raccoons every spring. A lot of times it was like baby deer, the moms would get run over. People would pick up the babies and bring them to us. We actually had 14 baby alligators at one time when I was 5 years old. That was, they weren't really good pets.
How did you keep 14 alligators?
In a blue plastic swimming pool. It was only temporary though. It was temporary until we could get them. The mom alligator had to be killed, and we just had to take care of them for a few weeks until they could be moved. So like I grew up, completely caring about nature and caring about animals, and then I also spent a lot of time in the woods, a lot of time. And I think the amount of time that I spent in the woods fishing or hunting when I was a kid, it just made who I am. And that's something that I really hope for the same for my kids, and I try to get them in the woods as much as I can, because you can't really appreciate something or love something and take care of it if you don't experience and understand how precious nature is.
Absolutely.
And I think if everybody spent more time out in the woods, they'd all care more.
Where was this growing up? Where are we talking?
Greenville, McKenzie and Greenville, so Butler County.
Man. So what do you think the future here? I mean, your roots are here now. Your family's roots are here now. Very invested. Like, what do you hope to continue with Friends of Pinchgut Creek and Cahaba and
Well,
future, that kind of thing?
we would love to. We have a lot of projects that we want to get going. I'm not going to share details on all of those, but we
Sure.
want to
When
be.
the time is right.
We want to be doing more like educational type stuff in the community.
Okay.
I think would be really awesome, and we're going to continue with our water monitoring that we're doing, and we'd love to get more people involved in that.
Yeah.
So we actually collect water samples for Alabama Water Watch.
Yeah.
4 of our board of directors are certified by Alabama Water Watch, and we're going to continue doing that. I would love for us to be able to monitor water in some of the other tributaries around town. I think that would be awesome.
What's involved in the water monitor? Like, I've seen some of those out there. How does it work?
So we actually have 2 different types of water monitoring to do. We do the swim guide collection, and that's just monitoring for bacteria levels to see if it's safe to be in the water.
Okay.
And then with Alabama Water Watch, we do bacteria and chemical analysis of the water. Yeah. And I'm not the one that regularly does these tests. I can't tell you all the sciencey stuff.
Sure.
Alex is actually a biologist. he can break down the science, but we test alkalinity, the hardness, the dissolved oxygen levels, and it really is just, it lets you know by monitoring the same site regularly if something all of a sudden is way off. Yeah. It can either be because of weather. Sometimes like a lot of rain can cause your water to change, but if something drastically changes in the water, we'll see it and know, hey, something has gone wrong. There's, usually that's an indicator of some sort of pollution or something. So we actually monitor Pinchgut Creek and Little Cahaba Creek out near Camp Coleman. And then for the swim guide, there's 3 different sites where we collect for swim guide. One is in the Cahaba out at Camp Coleman, and then also here in Pinchgut Creek. So we're going to continue to do that, and I'd love to get more people involved in that. We have an amazing community here, and when we do our cleanup events, we get so many people that come out for the cleanup events. I would love to get members of the community more involved in our group in other ways and help out in,
kind of
more day-to-day stuff.
Some people like that.
Yeah, and we have, and I think that we've gotten to know like the coolest people in Trussville because of it. We really have.
Yeah. Well, how do those people, if they are interested, how do they follow y'all? Where do they go?
Well, we're on Instagram and on Facebook if people reach out to us and they want to get involved. We have so many ways people can help, and we even have ways people can volunteer and help if they can't walk around and pick up garbage. Like we always have opportunities for people to help at sign-up stations, just helping with organizing things. There's a volunteer role for just about anybody. No matter what your physical abilities are, we'll put you to work doing something.
That's right. That's how. Hey, that's how these 501c3s and stuff work. I know that's right. I know that's right.
We'll take all the workers we can get.
You need boots on the ground. That's right.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to talk about, G?
Well, I just want people in Trussville to realize that this is where the Cahaba River is born, and our waterways are so precious. And one of our big goals, we want to raise awareness of the importance of urban tributaries. Yeah. All of the tiny creeks that flow through Trussville are forming the Cahaba River, and every creek, every drainage ditch is important. Every bit of water that flows through this town is making the Cahaba River. So we really have a big job here, and I feel like, if we can get that point across to everybody, we'd be accomplishing something great.
Yeah. So y'all keep that in mind, please.
Yes.
Next time you're throwing away that Chick-fil-A lemonade, make sure that lid's closed good.
For sure.
All that. So, well, I appreciate you doing this today.
This is fun.
And talking about it. I know y'all are gonna go clean up here in a little bit. So
yeah, we actually have a group of Girl Scouts that I'm going to be meeting here in a little bit. So we do our big cleanup events once or twice a year, but we get a lot of work done throughout the year with small groups. Yeah. We have Scout groups reach out to us, sometimes church groups, that just say, hey, we've got 10, 15 people looking for a project to do, and
come on.
There's always litter to be cleaned up, and there's always work to be done.
That's right. Well, hopefully y'all's pile today is smaller than the last pile.
It will be. We're having a big cleanup event in a couple of weeks, and I go out and scout out locations for garbage for these cleanup events. So that one, we're going to have a massive, glorious pile of trash. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I feel like I'm out treasure hunting for weeks in advance before these cleanup events. I go around and see where all the tires are hiding. So that
tires. I mean, you never know what you might find. You might stumble upon some arrowheads out there on Pinchgut. You never know.
That would be really cool. I haven't yet, but I would probably not recognize one if I said it. So.
Well, that sounds good. I appreciate you doing this and bringing some awareness to our rivers, our creeks, and everything, and just how important it is, especially in this city. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
It's
we'll
fun.
see y'all next time.